But behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey everyone, it's Eric DeSando. How are you? Thanks for coming on my vlog. Please repost, comment below. Love you guys for watching any of these crazy things. So today I want to talk about the definition of life, and I'm going to relate it to being alive. So there's 7 things that you have to live. So I'm going to go through each of them quickly and we'll talk about them. The first one is movement. And I say this all the time. It's something I've learned from some of my great spiritual teachers. Nothing lives till it moves. Think about that. Nothing lives till it moves. So my body, even if I stay as still as possible, molecules are moving at almost the speed of light to make this look like it's solid. And because some things are more solid, like this glass is more solid than my skin, it's going to be moving faster. Everything here, the lights that are here, their movement, it's all movement. Everything is about movement. So when you are not living, you're not moving. So the analogy or the metaphor is, and I've said this before too, start doing something when you're down on yourself. Clean your room or your apartment. Wash your car. I know it sounds crazy, but if you start something and finish it, you're going to feel better. Intrinsically, you start feeling better. Do your dishes. Do something and complete a task. Is probably why you're unhappy or not moving, is because you haven't been able to finish anything. Especially if you're young and even if you're older, it can be very overwhelming life, because if you start to look at where other people are and where you are, you're going to get depressed fucking fast. And believe me, it happens to me too. And I try not to look and think about anybody else and just stay on my own path. But movement is a key to living. Start moving more. I'm not saying doing. I think that doing thing is a little overrated. Movement can be being still and meditating, which internally that's movement. Not thinking and meditating allows you to connect. But regardless, you've got to start making things happen. Okay, number 2 in living, reproduction. One of my favorites. Okay, a living thing can make a copy of itself through reproduction. That's what life is, or that's what life does in order for it to survive. So in my world, since I don't have any children, and God bless if you do, the way I reproduce is through my businesses. First, I create a business, and then I reproduce employees. I get people going, I get people motivated, I get people focused on the goal we have as a business. And for me, that's the reproduction. It's getting more and more people interested and involved and passionate and inspired by what your business goals are. It's not easy, man. But I'm telling you something, guys like Elon Musk, who just had a huge day today as his profits went up, which is pretty impressive. Guys like this that can get a bunch of people to work 24 hours a day on his dream, and he's going to make most of the money, but they feel invested. They see the dream about electric cars, and he's replicating that energy throughout hundreds and thousands of people and investors and all kinds of things. So reproduction doesn't have to come out of you if you're a woman. It comes from something more deep than that. Okay, so start reproducing. Number 3, in how to live, or how to be alive, which is what this really is. This comes right out of the dictionary, guys. Sensitivity. So living things are able to sense their surroundings, and so this is one of the things that are unique to all living things. In my mind, sensitivity is about being empathetic, which is something that I've become better at as I've aged. I was not very empathetic when I was young because it was all about me. Being young is all about you. You don't see the connection to the world. You only see your own problems and situations. So look at you guys that are 20. I get it, man. Go through that experience and you'll come out of the other side by seeing, as you get older, other young people going through what you went through and seeing knowing how difficult it was and being empathetic. Empathy is a huge part of growth, in my opinion, and it's about sensitivity. And of course, seeing the connection to everything. Being sensitive to the idea that plants, although they can't speak or talk, can feel, according to what we've learned. There was a study done where if you plant a garden behind your house, that garden will be able to sense what your needs are and will give you in the food. If you're lacking calcium, it'll bring you more calcium. It'll literally serve you. So when you start to see that, when you start to see the purpose of a snake, because you're scared of them, or spiders, which you hate, and you start realizing that in 50 years, if we lose all the insects on the planet, in 50 years, all life as we know it ceases to exist. You have to start becoming more sensitive to all beings, whether they're plants or animals or humans. Sensitivity is another trait of people that are successful. They sense and feel others, and that's how they grow their businesses. That's how they grow their brand, through that. Okay. Number 4, growth. All things grow and develop. All things. All you got to do is think about where we came from to understand growth. We come from this thing that we like to call God, this universal consciousness, this intelligence of the universe that created us out of nothing. If you look at the sperm and the egg, there is no DNA that makes your eyeball or any part of you. It does not have a roadmap to do that. It's through an intended thing. It's an intention. So all growth needs to be like God. So as we've evolved, if we look at our own species evolving from the polywog and from microscopic organisms to the polywog on up the ladder, and then you see us as apes and then humans, you understand that what's happening is we are becoming more and more like God. I don't mean that in terms of our physical form. That's ridiculous. I'm talking about in terms of our spiritual form. We are becoming more and more like the Creator, and I believe, and I've read other people that think the same thing, is that God is trying to understand itself. This universal power is creating and evolving creatures until it becomes itself. And even though it's kind of a deep thing to say, if you really think about it, it does make sense. So if you're going to grow, okay, so you have a business, the growth needs to be in terms of excellence, in terms of always making it better every week, every day, every second. You're trying to evolve what you're doing, and it's just like you as a human evolving, or all the different. There's going to be extinctions in this planet because of the weather and what'll happen is that's horrible. But then there'll be other things that will evolve out of that. There'll be other plants and animals, and even humans will change as we adjust to the environmental issues we're going to be having over the next 1,000 years. Okay? So, growth. Number 5, respiration. Nothing lives unless it can breathe. Okay? Respiration, right? So, to me, breathing is something we all take for granted, and most of us don't think about it. I certainly don't. Yet, all great spiritualists use breathing as part of a technique to connect. So, learning how to breathe in and out, calming the body, feeling the air. These are things we take thousands of breaths every hour, and we don't even think about it. Starting to be aware of breath and understanding where breath comes from. Breath comes from, of course, trees and things that emit different kinds of dioxides that allow us to live. Again, understanding that connection and being appreciative and humbled by it makes a lot of sense. Also, breath is involved in meditation. The idea of meditation is to connect to source. The source of us is not this physical form, but the form behind the physical form. The spirit, the soul. You connect to it through stop thinking and just experiencing and feeling. And breath is a very important part of that. So, and also connecting to nature, understanding how air works and how it is formed to make you be alive. It's a lot of awareness, and it's something that, in terms of breath, I just think it's a respiration. I think it's very important to understand that physical, because it's the first time that we really connect to nature on a very intimate level. All right, we've got 2 more. Number 6, excretion. Yeah, shitting. Everything that lives shits. I mean, if you think about trees, I got a tree in one of my properties. It's always shitting, all its leaves all over the deck. Everything is growing, and it begins, births, growth, and then it dies. So in terms of excretion, for me, it's the big thing. It's cutting off suckers. So from a metaphorical perspective, you need to excrete or shit out people and things and ideas and memories and thoughts that are damaging you. There's a great book, which we'll discuss at some point during this evolution of my own personal brand, called Power versus Force by a guy named David Hawkins. In the book, he has a from 0 to 1,000 energy. Talks about energy, 0 to 1,000. At 0 is death. At 1,000 is Jesus. He's actually came up with a way to measure the vibrational energy of Jesus through this interesting thing where you say it, and then he can tell by how firm your arm is. Literally, you can tell if it's true or not true. You know, does Mother Teresa vibrate at 500? You would ask somebody and push down their arms. You can tell if they believed it or not through the actual physicality of the arm. It's something you have to read on, but it's amazing. But in this book, he talks a lot about low vibration, of course. So the lowest vibration is death. The second lowest vibration is shame, and that's something that if you're in, you can literally die from. It's so close to that. Being around people or situations which are low vibration. For instance, I'll tell you a real low vibration, pride. You would think pride is this high vibration. No, it's not. It's a very low vibration. People that are in pride are typically very self-conscious and very, all about me. And of course, they get upset at any little thing. If you look at, the ghetto and the gangs in the ghetto, and somebody does something wrong to somebody else, and they have to shoot him. And it all comes from this idea of pride, which people would think is a high, noble thing. It's not noble at all. It's very low vibe. So if you're around people that are always prideful, you're going to be sucked into that vortex, and it's going to cost you in some way. And also it's going to affect you and drive your vibrational level down. So cutting these types of people and vibes and situations is just like taking a fucking shit. It's the same thing. Get it out of your system. Eliminate drag. There's only two types of people in my world. People that pull and people that push. A puller is trying to pull you down. A pusher is, of course, pushing you up. Most givers, real givers, not bullshit givers, not the ones that need something in return but just want to give, are complete pushers. Maybe 1 in 30 you might find like that, 1 in 25. So those are people you need to find and cultivate, and then you need to cut people that are constantly dragging on you and pulling on you, needing and never taking any risk, always asking you to do all the hard work. All right, so that's number 6. Finally, number 7. In terms of living, this is the definition of life. The 7th definition is nutrition. Control your intake. So nutrition to me is, what are you putting into your body? What are you putting on your body? Some of it's food, obviously, right? If you eat poorly, I know some of you smoke. I mean, what the hell? And I know some of you smoke pot. I get it. It calms you. It's good for you. But you try to, do the best you can not to overdo it. Certainly cigarettes are just a complete way. I don't understand cigarettes at all. If you have issues because you can't relax and you need a cigarette, find an alternative source, please, man. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But control your intake. Try to take in things that are going to nourish your body and your mind in a way that's going to grow you. For instance, I've been on hormone therapy for 14 years. It really helps. It really, HGH, testosterone, all the different stuff I take through my doctor, it really changed me fundamentally. It's why I'm so aggressive. And I mean aggressive not in a punch way, but in terms of going for it way. So nourishing your body, so putting in the right things in your body, and that includes the things around you, the people around you. I mean, here's how, are you nourishing your body if someone's always talking shit around you? Always talking negative, always telling you all the bad things that can happen, all the realistic things that you have to worry about? Is that a nourishing body? No, it's not nourishing your body at all. It's causing stress and pain and things of that nature. Nourish your soul. And you do that by giving and serving. So nutrition in a deeper form is, when you're low, go help another that's lower. It'll make you feel high. That's another way for nourishment. And of course, vibrationally be higher. If you're around people that are full of love, you're going to be full of love. If you can be around human beings that just serve and give without ever asking, you're going to be a better person. You're going to feel better. There are people that I get around and I just feel better being around them. I've met some amazing grandmas and mothers and fathers, of children that I've worked with that have just changed my life fundamentally. And I wish I could have them live with me so they could just continue to nourish me. Nutrition, nourishment, find it. Those are the 7 keys to living. And actually, they're the 7 keys to life. Use those metaphors for yours. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for watching.